All right, Zach. So as you know, I like giving the audience members something to walk away with. So everybody has their own problems and personal issues and addiction. Me as well, because I'm a human and I have my own.
You're human too.
Believe it or not,
Whoa.
believe it or not, if you would have seen me back on the soccer field in 2015, you would have thought I wasn't human because I was so good. That's the joke. One thing for me, for example, is I have always thought, oh, my legs aren't the type of legs to do squats. And I was like, oh, my legs aren't very strong. So in the gym, I neglect doing leg day because I'm like, oh, I won't have strong legs. Other people are predisposed to, they're good at deadlift. They can deadlift without getting lightheaded. I deadlift and get lightheaded. How does one destroy self-limiting thoughts?
We'll use a specific example that you don't have the legs to squat, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're right. You don't until you do. Nobody has the right legs to squat or the right leg strength to squat. You know how they get it? They build it and they do it. It's like this idea of like someone like, oh, I could never be a YouTuber. I'm not the right personality. No one is the right personality to be a YouTuber until they make their first video, until they do it. Mm-hmm. It's like this idea of like, a lot of people struggle with like, if they want to write a book or putting themselves out there or start a podcast. They're like, well, I could never be an author. I could never start a podcast. Nobody was ever an author until they were an author. Whatever you want to do, you just have to get past that initial. As somebody who learned hypnosis from scratch and taught myself, I couldn't learn hypnosis. Oh, I'm not the right person to do it. Oh, other people are better at it. I don't have those skills. Mm-hmm. So instead of complaining I don't have the skills, I made the skills. I developed them.
People view me, oh, you're a YouTuber. You make YouTube videos. Well, what happened when I didn't make them? I was not that. And then I just made a bunch of videos and now I'm a YouTuber.
You weren't a YouTuber until you decided you wanted to be.
I could look at everybody else in the gym and go, no, they're really good at squats and I'm not good at squats. Because I'm a bit longer in the legs. Tall people are predisposed to not being able to do it. And then right there, I convinced myself, well, I can't do it. So I never will do it.
Hard work beats talent, especially when talent doesn't work.
That's a lot of damage.
So I watched a video where a guy was saying, depression's not real. This guy said, I'm not gonna subscribe to the concept of I'm depressed. I'm gonna subscribe to I'm getting better. Maybe I feel down and out right now, or I feel depressed, but I don't have depression. People who are depressed, it's merely because they're doing things in their life that are causing them to be depressed. They're living an unhappy, unfulfilled life. What do you say to people who are like, I have depression? How do you get somebody to tell them so? Easier said than done. Say you don't have depression. Say you don't have anxiety. Is it as simple as that?
It is something we could sit down and talk for hours on just this specific topic because there's so much in realms of depression, anxiety, mental health. The biggest thing I would say is depression is not something you have. It's not something you are. It's something that you experience. And there are different reasons you may experience it, right? It can be a major oversimplification of being like, oh, it's just your fault and the things you do are causing you to be depressed and shame on you because if you're depressed, you're broken and you do this. Depression is not something that you have. It's not something you are. You are not depressed. You don't have depression. It's something you experience. And there are different reasons you may experience it. The biggest one that people often look to or think is, oh, the idea of the chemicals in our brain, right? This idea of a chemical imbalance. And the chemicals that our brain produces play a very real role, right? If your brain's producing more serotonin or more oxytocin or more dopamine, you're more likely to feel happy and less depressed. If it's producing less of those chemicals, then you're more likely to feel more depressed or more anxious. The thing that people often get wrong though, is people look at it and say, oh, it's a chemical imbalance or a deficiency. I don't have enough of those chemicals in my brain, and therefore I need to take drugs, and those drugs will help me get those chemicals and I'll be all right. Well, if that's really the solution, why are there people who still take those drugs and are still depressed? Why is it that there are some antidepressants that will increase your serotonin and there are some that will remove your serotonin to make you depressed? If the answer is just get more of these chemicals, why are there some antidepressants that remove these chemicals? You're supposed to have more of it.
I'll be the first to say I took a doctor prescribed because I was feeling down and out and I wasn't mentally mature enough to realize there's a handful of things I can fix here that will probably fix this mood in my head. And I took the pills, worst decision of my life. I had some terrible adverse reaction to it and I will never take another medication pill for as long as I live because of that experience. People think that the answer is within these pills sometimes, and I'm sure there are people with actual brain problems that you need to go see a doctor to do some surgery or something.
The interesting thing though is that, like you said, for some people drugs can be more harmful because there's all these side effects. I think the irony too is think about like what's one of the main symptoms of depression? Insomnia. You have struggle sleeping, right? You look at any antidepressant. What's one of the number one side effects? is insomnia.
One of the number one side effects was increased depression.
How does these potential side effects gonna help me overcome these symptoms I'm already experiencing? That's supposed to solve the problem, not make it worse. Taking antidepressants for most people is kind of like putting a Band-Aid over a balloon. You can stop the bleeding, you can make it look not as bad as it is, but you're not solving the root of the problem. Another analogy is it's like if the smoke alarm's going off in your house, you can take the batteries out. It will stop the noise, but that's not gonna solve the fire that's going on. When your body experiences pain, physical or mental, it is a sign that something needs to change. Or if your hand is on a hot stove and it's hot, why is it hot? Why is my hand hurt? Oh, I should get my hand away from the stove. If you're experiencing depression or anxiety, it's your body telling you that something is not right. It's lacking these chemicals, yes, but people often don't realize that these chemicals, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, are produced. If you eat healthier, sleep more, and exercise more, that solves a lot of it. It's not necessarily just gonna get rid of it, but that is a big solution, is you have people take actions that are actually helping their body to facilitate the necessary chemicals. When you think of a depressed person, what are they gonna do? They're just gonna sit in their room all day and just scroll through social media, and they'll be down, and they're not gonna eat because they're not hungry, and they're not gonna go outside, they're not gonna get exercise because they feel unmotivated to exercise.
Facts.
The more they fail to do these activities, the more their body starts to not produce the chemicals that they need to feel happier and healthier and motivated and alive. So sometimes it's giving yourself just that push of just what's the next thing you can do. People who are in a depressed state tend to get overwhelmed by the whole, oh, I'm no longer where I was before, I'm no longer my happy self, or I'm no longer like these people I see on social media. Well, so I guess I'll do nothing. But it's always about taking that next step. And a lot of times that step can be interacting with other people, right? Simply hugging somebody, give someone a good 10, 15 second hug, your body will produce oxytocin.
Don't subscribe to the idea that I have anxiety, so I can't go out and socialize. I'm socially anxious. It's not my thing. If I go and socialize, I'm awkward, I'm weird. That's not the truth. And if you go out and actually end up socializing, which I've done many times, I'll feel in a funky mood. I'm like, damn, I feel really bad. Or going out into a group of people, a group of friends, hanging out, immediately I forget about how I'm supposed to be sad. I go to the gym. I've never left feeling like I shouldn't have done that.
Going to the gym is not pleasant while you're working out, is it?
Not at all.
It sucks, it burns, it hurts. You're like, why did I do this? Why did I drag my body here? Why am I up so early? Why am I pushing myself? You get this high. You're like, I did it. I did this workout. I feel good. Like, I feel fit. When it comes to people who have social anxiety and have trouble stepping outside of their comfort zone and meeting new people, going new places, they're gonna feel that same hesitancy you feel when you don't want to go to the gym, or when you're there it might feel uncomfortable. Like anything, the more you do it, the more comfortable it feels. No one's comfortable with things they don't do often. But by doing them often, that's how you become comfortable. That's how you become confident. And a lot of things people don't know about me is I was homeschooled most of my entire education up through college. One of the amazing things about being homeschooled is it gave me a great education, and it taught me a lot, and it helped me to. The negative side effect is the social life kind of plummeted. I didn't really have many friends growing up. I was a pretty shy, nervous, introverted kid. And now I'm a hypnotist that's confident and can go out and interact with people and talk about these things casually. But it's a skill set that I developed. I didn't have that. I was not a naturally confident person or someone who was always good socializing. How did the super shy, quiet, introverted homeschool kid become a confident, extroverted hypnotist? It's a skill set that I developed. I didn't just wake up one morning and be like, I am now a new person. But it's somebody that I created. How do you run a mile or a marathon? One step at a time. And every step that you take, you're not going to seem like you really made any progress. Oh, I'm essentially where I'm at now. But you take another step and another step, dozen steps, 100 steps, 1,000 steps. I'm a mile. I'm 2 miles. I'm 5 miles. How did I get this far? I'll tell you how you got that far, by taking one step after another.
Like you said, when you're at the gym, it feels terrible almost the whole time. Sometimes you can work out and then you start getting a little steam under your belt and you're feeling good while you're working out, but that's rare for the first month or a few weeks or whatever. You might not get that runner's high or lifting high or whatever. One experience in my life when I did my graduation speech in high school in front of, I don't know, if thousands of people, I don't know if it was 2,000 or 1,000, and I was shitting bricks the whole, like, about to go on stage. I've never felt that level of nervousness before. And then up there, I actually wasn't too nervous. And then afterwards was this euphoric feeling of that I don't know if I probably had it a few other times after when it was different fun situations, but right on the other side of the discomfort is the best feeling you could ever imagine, or the feeling that you're searching for.
Write that down. And a lot of times the thing that stops people from trying is that fear of failure, right? But I want you to remember, it's impossible to fail because you're either going to win or you're going to learn.
Because if I'm not very social, and then I go up to a bunch of people, let's say I'm nervous and I stutter, oh, that was bad. Nothing gonna happen to you. Oh, we're the worst case, they might think, oh, I don't know what that guy's issue was. It might say, oh, well, let me come at it a different way another time. And like you said, you're just learning, developing.
And the thing that people with anxiety often struggle with too, especially social anxiety, is people are getting wrapped up in what other people are thinking of them, or how other people see you. Tell you what, other people are thinking of you a lot less than you give yourself credit for, right? When you're in a crowd, you're not thinking, oh, look how that person's dressed, or oh, what is that person wearing, or oh, that person looks so unconfident. You're thinking about yourself. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Is everything okay? Like, everyone's always so focused on themselves. They're not thinking about you. They're not worried about you. They're not stressed about how you look or how you act. But the thing is that people perceive you how you perceive yourself. If you perceive yourself as really unconfident and really shy and really nervous, that's the energy and that's the aura you give off about yourself, and that's what people feel when you're there. If you feel confident and you feel comfortable, sometimes you might even have to just pretend, right? The idea of faking it till you make it. There's some areas where that's not good advice. Confidence, that can be. If you were just imagine you're the most confident person in the world, how would a confident person go up to this situation? Or think of a celebrity or person you look up to who's confident. How would this person interact in this situation? And I want to try to emulate that. Model my actions off of that person. What you'll find is that there's a point where it no longer becomes pretending because it feels real. Like we were talking about earlier, they did pretending, you're not pretending, to the point that pretend no longer feels real, pretend becomes your reality.
Look at Chihuahua, for example. They can get a little feisty and they have a lot of big dog energy. A Chihuahua that's acting very brave in front of me, I'm not going to touch it because I'm scared of it, and it's only a little Chihuahua. Even if you feel like a Chihuahua, but you act like a bigger, scarier dog, and other people see, oh, this is not something to be messed with.
It doesn't matter if you look like an alpha wolf, if you portray that energy, right?
Then you're gonna
be much scared of like a fierce Chihuahua than a cowardly wolf.
Yeah, that's so true. This is how I want to encapsulate it, because this is something I don't deal with as much because maybe I'm out of school and I'm a bit older, so I have tougher skin from doing YouTube, and constantly all day I get told messages, inappropriately mean messages, or just haters, I guess you'd call them. I might see a stupid comment and be like, you're an idiot. But I don't take things to heart as much as maybe the younger me did, or any high school kid or younger kid. People care a lot about when they're in school. Well, Zach, it's easy for you to say, just don't care about other people's opinions. They're bullying me. They're making fun of me. I'm the subject of bullies, and they are thinking about me, and they are roasting me. What do you say to those people who are really having a hard time, that they know that people are gonna judge them and make fun of them and talk behind their back?
I would say the thing is to realize that those bullies are actually having just as much of a hard time, if not a harder time than you. That doesn't excuse their behavior. That doesn't mean they're justified in bullying you. But remember, nobody is going to bully you or put you down who's already above you. So if you're getting bullied, if you're getting negative hate comments, it's just people trying to feel better about themselves. Their life is so miserable that they feel the need to try to bring you down to their level. So if you're getting hate, yeah, it's not fun. It sucks when people are mean. But people aren't mean because it's true. People are mean because they are the ones that are hurting. Hurt people, right, is the expression.
And I've never been bullied or judged or whatever by somebody doing better than me in life and healthier and happier, because they don't care.
They know the struggle. They know that to get success, it comes with failures, it comes with messing up, it comes with learning. So when you fail or mess up, they're not going to put you down for it because they know they've been there, right? It's just the people who haven't put in the work who are going to knock you for putting in the work. And here's the thing, no matter what you do, you're going to be judged.
Facts.
If you have an amazing life and you're super successful, you're going to have haters. You don't deserve this, you shouldn't do this, your stuff's stupid. If you do nothing and you're lazy and you sit back, oh, you should do something with your life, you should be successful, like put yourself out there. People are going to judge you no matter what you do.
In my opinion, everything's gonna crumble to dust eventually. How many years is this joint gonna be around? This planet is gonna implode on itself if a meteor doesn't take us out.
Yeah, there's freedom in understanding that nothing ultimately really matters. Even if people remember what you do after several generations, you're going to be forgotten, right? How many people from 100 years ago do we still remember? Probably count on one hand, maybe, like the people who were the most influential, but 99.99999% of people are just forgotten. And that's not meant to be discouraging of, oh, nothing matters, right? But because nothing matters, anything can. There's just freedom to say you don't have to be who your friends or your parents or your neighbors or the internet says you should be. Be whoever you want to be, because it doesn't matter anyway, right? We're all gonna die, we're all gonna end up in the same place anyway, so at the end of the day, do what you want, do what you love, like that's what life's about.
I don't think I'm inherently hateful person who I think everybody judges. Everybody judges and looks at other people and goes, well, he's doing that and I could never be like that. Let's say, for example, I think I have terrible hair and that's my insecurity. And then I see somebody who's morbidly obese. I'm like, freaking fat loser, gross. Somebody who's happy with their life won't even give a second look at somebody who has another, who is overweight or bad hair or whatever.
Yeah. And remember too that something that is one of your strengths is somebody else's insecurity. Something that you're proud of is somebody else's insecurity, and vice versa. Something you may be insecure about is somebody else's strength. We all have insecurities, we all have strengths, and none of us are perfect. But at the end of the day, when we're more focused on what we have, then we can do something with that, right? We tend to have this idea of, oh, well, I'm not like people on social media. Social media is a highlight reel. So stop comparing your behind the scenes to somebody else's highlights. Social media, everyone puts the 1% of their life they want to show. You compare that to the 99% that you don't. That's reality, that is real.
What do people expect? Like with me, with my squatting and deadlifting, like you just said, nobody's perfect. Nobody has every skill set known to man, and they're perfectly secure in every single facet of their life, and they're perfectly okay in their head. There's not a human out there that exists.
Even if they did, they're gonna die too.
they'll be dust in a second too.
We are all mortal, yes.
When it comes to your anxiety, depression, mental cage that you're putting yourself in, to get out of it, hit the low-hanging fruit of things you know you can improve in terms of sleep, diet, exercise, socializing. Don't subscribe to, I'm a depressed loser. Maybe start with, oh, I'm feeling good. Even if you don't feel good. Because at a certain point, you'll trick yourself into feeling good.
Right, the brain doesn't have a logic filter. The brain can't determine between fake news and real news, right? The brain is just like, oh, you think this thing? Sure, it's true. So we think, yeah, I'm a great person, I'm confident, I can do this, I can overcome this. The brain's like, okay. You're like, oh, I'm just depressed forever and I'm always gonna be like this and nothing and nobody can help me and I'm just forever alone. The brain's like, okay.
I've heard so many people, I can't get on camera, uncomfortable on camera. Are you actually? You just told yourself that you are.
Just remember, as you're thinking these thoughts, and a lot of them are negative, you can't stop your thoughts from coming. If you think you can, just sit down and think and try to stop a thought, and the thoughts will just happen. They just happen. But the thing is, you're not the source of your thoughts. People think that, oh, my thoughts are coming from me because I'm depressed, and the reason I have depressed thoughts are... No, everybody, no matter how confident or positive they may be, have negative thoughts that come in their brain. You're not the source of those thoughts. You're just a vessel by which the thoughts flow through. So you can't stop the thoughts from coming, but you can choose which ones to dwell on. If a thought comes in, you don't like that thought, train yourself to be like, is that really true?
A lot of people will say, well, you don't know my circumstance. My thing is this. Well, my dad did this. Don't stand up for anxiety and don't stand up for depression defending it.
Yeah. If you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them.
That's it. Bye. Make sure you guys go follow Zach on his platforms. We'll pop them up here at the bottom.
Follow along if you want to see more stuff like this.
Do you want to be a motivational speaker?
Something like that. Maybe start some podcasts, do more conversations like these. It's fun. I love talking about these deeper, real issues.
We're having a podcast being like set up for us soon, so we'll definitely gotta have you on.
All right, that'll be fun. Let's do it.
One thing that I've never said this to people, but I want to be a motivational speaker. It's a goal of mine. I don't necessarily have a direct plan for it, but I get so much pleasure and joy out of talking about stuff like this. So that's my thing, and I'm gonna go ahead and do it. So.
Make it happen.
And you too, because you have the freaking information. I gotta read a few more books before I do it. That's it, y'all. Peace out. Bye.